we were, the families at the time that were there founded Ariel School. And so we were a group of children that had actually founded the school. And we were attending classes just like normal. And we had a recess break. And during the recess, it was just like any other day. We were playing in the playground, which was, there was a perimeter of a boundary because there was a lot of brush where snakes and, all different types of wildlife and diversity could exist and roam. So we were playing, and my friend and I, this is just my personal account, my friend and I, we were hopping along the boundary logs, and all of a sudden we heard this high-pitched frequency, and there was like a flash in the sky, and the ship landed in just outside of the perimeter of the boundary logs, and all of a sudden there was chaos on the playground. Kids were running towards the ship to get a better look, and these beings came out, and two beings presented themselves in front of me and my friend Liesel, and we experienced what we would call psychic or telepathic communication, and I had images, like photographic images, flutter in front of my face, but in my mind. And a lot of the children described, which we all discuss, as an environmental impact, as well, so like climate change and the uses of technology. That was kind of the gist of the particular event. And then the school bell rang and everything just disappeared. It seemed as though time was distorted. So it could have been longer than about a 15-minute period, but we don't know. So that's the gist of the actual case in a nutshell. The most beautiful thing that I find out of the whole case is the diversity, is the human connection behind Ariel School. We were all diverse. We were all from different backgrounds. We were all from different races and religions. So for me, there's a human connection to the whole thing, and I'm not really aware of any other cases that are so diverse. And it's a beautiful thing to think that a life form from another planet visited a group of children, which are the future of the planet, and, communicated to such a diverse group.
Emily, one thing that you said in your story, I just want to, it really hit me, even though you said it so matter-of-factly, was you were standing next to two beings. To me, that's like, wow. And I've talked to Salma about this, and I was just awestruck by what she said. And the telepathic thing that you're talking about, it does make sense, first of all, that school children are witnessing these. There's been a number of cases because of the message to pass to the young ones that are going to carry on in the future. Protect the planet. And boy, we see signs of that right now. We're possibly in big trouble with what's going on climate-wise. Can you describe, do you remember, I know you were only in the third grade, but can you remember what the beings look like? Can you describe those, please?
Yeah, well, it is, I was talking to Randall about this yesterday, and I think all of us are going to have a bit of a different depiction, but very similar in their attributes, just based on being human. And, I use the description as like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so we're all going to have kind of slight differences, and that makes it real. They were kind of reflective in their appearance, so there was a bit of a luminosity to them. Large black eyes, like elongated heads, like enlarged heads. Very longer, thinner necks, not too long, but longer, thinner necks. Their limbs were more flimsy almost, and they were hovering. They weren't actually touching the ground. And I described them with a little bit, a slight of a pot belly. I don't know if that means anything, but that's what they looked like. And it was slightly like if you were to use an animal as a description, the skin was like a reptile skin, but luminous, with like an iridescence to it.
Wow. I remember when I spoke to Salma, and she said that she thought they almost looked like porcelain in a way. Did you have any of that thought? I mean, now that you look back at it?
Well, like they were reflective to me. So there was like, it would be, for me, I would describe it as more light, because this event happened in the day. So when I describe it as more of like a luminosity and an iridescence, it would be like taking a fabric and creating a different sheen on the fabric. So their skin, to me, reflected the light.
I see. And when you got the telepathic message, can you describe what that was like? I mean, it's just really hard to picture how something happens telepathically.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's difficult these days, because we're doing things like transferring consciousness into robots, and we have all these kind of advancements in our technology. That it's like a neural link. So how I describe it is you're immediately immersed in the connection with the eyes. And it's almost as though the eyes create this neural link with you. And then it was just like seeing a slideshow of images run across your mind, like you would in a dream, but happening in real time.
Wow. Did you talk to other, children around you afterwards? I know you said you spoke to your friend, but would you say that they were getting the same messages or just similar messages?
I think we all had a similar comprehension. Randall might have a bit more of an understanding on that. I didn't have very much time to spend with the students after the event happened. My family and I moved very soon after the event. So a lot of the other kids got more of an opportunity to discuss it, whereas because we were missionaries, we had moved back to Canada. And so I didn't really have that time spent with the other children to really go over and discuss that. And to be honest, the teachers kind of wanted things to go back to normal. So it was back to work as usual, because our main focus was gaining education, right? So they tried to normalize the situation for us as much as possible.
Emily, would you overall say, if you reflect back on this and where your life is now, would you say that this was a positive or more of a negative experience in your life?
I think it's been a little combination of both. The event itself, I think the best way I can describe it is you experience a bit of fear because it's something unknown that you've never seen before, which is a normal human reaction in response to anything that you haven't experienced before. I guess for me, Ariel has been, there's been a lot of psychological that's occurred. So I've had some ups and downs with the whole experience, just as I've processed it. I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a positive. I'm more open-minded to, I guess, comprehension of how I fit in this world, as an experiencer. And, I think I see beauty. I like to see the good in situations. So I don't see it as a negative. I don't see it as aliens invading or anything fearful or, so I see it as a positive.
A lot of people will talk about, like, I don't want to sound too fringy or anything like that, but a lot of people will talk about abilities that they think they have gained from these experiences. Do you have anything that you think that you may have gained besides of what you just talked about?
Well, I gained a whole profile of artwork, which I find to be quite a blessing. I paint from my subconscious, and I find my work to be fascinating because for me, I get to see the analysis of the experience it's a trauma, so it imprints on your brain. So you see the analysis of what actually comes out through my art, and I think that's a blessing and a beauty.
I agree. I actually have seen your artwork. You post a lot of it online. I've seen it in person too, and you have some really interesting pieces. Really, I really like a lot of.
It's beautiful.
It's really, really very, very creative, and some of it's very intense, which should not be a surprise, I think.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like I'm biased or, because it's my work, but I just think it's fascinating. And if you're interested in art, if you're interested in psychology and, trauma, mental health, all those kinds of things, and sci-fi and, a true story, I think, check it out.
Emily, have you had to battle skeptics at all?
I try not to focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have people that don't believe, and that's okay. If you can just speak your truth and be honest with yourself, I think that's the most important thing. I stay grounded. My family is the most important thing to me, the people that are close to me. I'm not one to want to push anything on anybody. I never have been. So I think it's just more valuable to hear the human connection behind all of this, so that I find that's more tangible for people to digest, and I find people become a bit more open-minded when you speak from your heart and your truth.
Do you get people contacting you through Facebook or email about your experience? And in other words, are you getting kind of bugged by people, annoyed, or do people respect your privacy?
I mean, for the most part, I find people just want to share when they hear that I have been through something, and they've heard me speak. For the most part, people want to share their experiences as well. I respect that, because I know what it's like to come forward, and people want to be heard. And that's, I think, what it comes down to, is that most people don't talk about their experiences. So when they hear somebody come forward, and put their life, you're putting your life in jeopardy, and in terms of credibility and your psychiatric well-being and all these kinds of different stereotypes that get put on you. They just want to share with you, and I respect that, So, I mean, not everybody that comes to you is not always, there are some people that are out there, and there are some people that really respect and value the actual integrity of what Ariel is all about. I just want to say that I think all the students, we didn't really attach ourselves to ufology, and, we didn't do this for, some sort of an acclaim, because it does jeopardize your career and your sanity, and, people question you and all sorts of different things. So none of us did it for any other reason. It's just, I think most people can agree we want some closure to the whole event. But there have been other people that do reach out. I think a lot of my followers on Instagram are, interested in just the subject and the genuineness of the, reality of the subject.